to the second hour of Fixing the Nation. We are live on Nation FM, on NTV, on YouTube, on Facebook. Anywhere with a broadcast or internet signal, you will find us. Let's get into our news fix for the hour. Now, public and universities are set to resume learning after a 49-day staff strike ended. This happened amid concerns of lost time and the fulfillment of promises. Now, after 49 days of paralysis, public universities across Kenya are set to resume normal operation and learning. Now, the strike follows following the end of the nationwide lecturer strike. The breakthrough came after prolonged negotiations between the university's academic staff union, that's UASU, and the government. Universities have issued circulars directing students to report back to campuses starting today. That's Monday, the 10th of November, with some institutions already publishing revised academic calendars to recover lost time. The strike had disrupted not just learning, but also examinations, research projects, and of course, graduation timelines, straining both local and international students. With learning set to resume, attention is on implementing the agreement and whether it will offer long-term stability in Kenya's public university system. Education stakeholders are calling for comprehensive funding frameworks to avoid and avert recurring industrial actions in the sector. Oh, that's good to hear. The last part.
Yeah.
Because when we hosted
Grace Nyongesa,
yes,
the chair of WASU, national chair,
she evaded the question of what's the long-term fix so that we step out of the cycle of sign a CBA, CBA isn't fulfilled, strike, pay part of the CBA, sign another CBA, strike. The
cycle continues, and then it disrupts, just as we've seen. But yeah, it's a good update. Another news fix we're following for you, Chief Justice Martha Koome is set to launch the Administration of Justice in Kenya Annual Report 2024-2025. The event, organized under the National Council on the Administration of Justice, NCAJ, will also unveil a new monitoring, evaluation, and learning guiding framework for Kenya's justice sector. The framework is expected to strengthen accountability, track reforms, and improve service delivery across the justice chain, from police to the courts. The launch points to the judiciary's efforts to make sure justice isn't only accessible, but measurable and transparent in line with ongoing sector reforms. Yeah, something that's needed now more than ever. So we will look out for that report soon.
That's right. We get into our conversation now. As promised, Kisii Senator Richard Onyonka is in studio with us. Let's discuss shifting sands. I like the term shifting sands of Kenyan politics. They shift very quickly. Okay, we had him here a few months ago. In the few months since, a lot has changed. We'll discuss that. Of course, we'll also discuss some things happening in the Senate and his thoughts on that. But let's welcome Senator Onyonka. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Very well. Yeah. Good to have you in studio.
I'm good. I'm really pissed. I wish Cherargei was here with me. Oh yeah.
Because what would you say to him?
You have a few choice words.
He's crazy. I don't know what he smoked this morning. I mean, the reality is that when you're a leader and you're seeing individuals, whether you are going to be in leadership or you're just a basic observer, the reality that is there is that some of these things should really never be happening in 2025.
Yeah.
It's just shocking. I mean, you look at Africa and think that we've moved so far, and yet as we move 6 steps forward, we do another 5 back.
Very true. Super worrying. Before we get, because we do need to figure out, by the way, how to hold each other accountable. We have an EACC, we have an NCIC. Like you said, Jano, what are they doing about those statements? But in the Senate as well, what could be done? But before all of that, let's start the day off with a quote. Janet will share today's quote with you. You can say what it says.
Please do.
Yes, the quote is by Muthoni Likimani, obviously somebody who is just such a national treasure, I think, in many ways. And she once said, "Silence is not virtue when it protects wrongdoing."
True. I mean, it means that if you see something that is going wrong, or something has been happening that is wrong, and you do not either respond or talk about it or raise the critical issues about that something, then it means you're an accomplice. And the reality is that in Kenya, all of us are nearly accomplices.
Yeah. That you're
whether it is we who are in the political class, who have all these these things we do in this country.
Before we get to the things we do and the shifting sands, as Mariam said, yes. It's important that you started by sharing your frustration and shock in what Cherargei said. If you can just quickly give us, just your own thoughts and reactions when you're looking at what's happening in the region, when you're looking at whether it's the 2 activists who've just been released after there was denial of them being detained, when you look at what's just happened in Tanzania and the plight of Kenyans and even Tanzanians, and when you look at what we feel, I think, okay, I should speak for me, is continued lack of accountability, especially, for example, on the president's part. Just watching his interview yesterday on Al Jazeera, the first 10 to 15 minutes, there was little truth. And I know that can be backed by data in terms of what you're saying. It's a big question, Senator, but just your reactions on where we need to go from here, because we're not in a good place.
I think, honestly, I think that's a very good question. Now, let me say this. When I was listening to the president's interview, I just thought either he lives in Canada and he sits in a place where people don't tell him anything happening about this country, or indeed the issues that he's discussing. He's running through a list of things that he has done that he believes are so wonderful. And yet in reality, when some of us sit and if we were to do an audit on some of the stuff that he's talking about, it's just incredible. I mean, the reality is we have a country that in the last 3 years, where our budget debt capacity, we were about 12 trillion. If I am not wrong, because we haven't done that audit, we are waiting to do it, I think, next month. Soon, we are going to be at 16 trillion. So the president is talking about we've done houses. In fact, I've done these wonderful things. He's talking about education being... We are not having capitation money going to schools. University students are at home. He's talking about fixing the healthcare system, which is... Yes, you go and some patients will tell you, oh, I used SHA and it paid. But the reality is we know that it's certain health facilities that are just being paid because those are the health facilities that are giving kickbacks to the national government officials who work in the Ministry of Health and the ones running SHA. We know that SHA is being run from Nairobi West Hospital. Why? Because the owner of Nairobi West Hospital is the one who has the software that is running the financial platform for SHA. I mean, we know that we have lost, in terms of corruption, money which is being stolen from CDF, money. Why is the World Bank saying they are changing the conditionalities? We are just constantly misbehaving. And our reality for us in the opposition is very simple. When Cherargei is busy screaming at us, telling us how civil society people should be finured, and in fact, after that, brought here so that they can be finured again, it simply means that Cherargei is either in another world, he has never understood where this country has come from. They were busy crying and screaming and shedding crocodile tears how Raila was a great guy. The same things that Raila was fighting about, even with his contradictions, are the ones now they are saying, hallelujah, hallelujah. So where people like me are, I'm like, I don't know what happened to us. And if you look at the whole spectrum, look at it. People are saying more than 20,000 Tanzanians have been killed out of what happened the other day from the elections, which were never elections. President Museveni comes up and says, oh, you know what, we picked up those little rabbits. And by the way, I say this with a lot of humility because Museveni is a personal friend. The question I want to ask the Ugandan president is this. In 1978, he walked into my home in Kisii. By that time, I mean, my father was a minister in government. Museveni needed to be kept and hidden away from Obote's people. He brought his Ugandan people who were teachers in a school that my father owned, who were his intelligence officers. What would happen if all of them had been killed? What would happen if my father had handed over Museveni to Obote? Because at that time, it was the best thing to do. And yet, in reality, I'm a bit relieved that he didn't kill the 2 gentlemen who were arrested. So we are talking about Africa and Africans, especially East Africans. All of a sudden, we've just become something else that I personally never thought would happen again.
Right.
There are so many things you've said that we only have 45 minutes,
right.
Mariam, but at some point we're going to need to do a 2-hour with you, because first let's think through who our friends are, Senator. But I understand there's history. I understand there's history there. But yeah, you've spoken to family history there.
Yes.
But yeah, you've spoken to quite a bit, and I think maybe echoing what a lot of people are asking is how did we get here? And it's more complex and nuanced, and it's hard for us to unpack all of it.
It's true.
I think the thing we can agree on is that we have to be urgent about taking back our power and our agency. I think that's something that we can agree on.
The amount of space, the amount of space that people have fought for in this country, which looks at a subliminal level, at a casual level, it looks normal. It looks normal for people to walk in this town in Nairobi and in the evening and you see no violence. And people forget that there was a time in this town when you would walk and you had a phone and 19 people were running all over town that their phones has been stolen. People need to understand that a country is never an outfit that is personal. It is a common house that accommodates everybody. Thieves, crooks, angels, devils. You can put everything. So a head of state should just rationalize.
Yeah.
What do you do on averages?
Right.
All right. And the other day I saw the president say, Kenyans need to stop thinking about the ordinary. Mr. President, you are the only one who's ordinary. He's on. Let me ask you.
Yeah, how so?
How can President William Ruto talk about all these things he talks about, and yet I will ask him a very simple question: in the next semester or next term, chances are the students who are going to go to Form 1, Form 2, and Form 3 from the local schools that are day schools are most probably going to be half the number. Why? He has already reduced capitation by 50%. All right, that capitation itself has not been going to the schools. Why? Because his friends are the ones who are stealing the money.
And she's talked about that intentional defunding of education.
Exactly.
And how it's going to
affect the people. We are actually creating a population that is going to become subservient, that is going to become stupid. Because when people are educated, then they are able to push back when you are violating their rights.
Right. Just before we shift to shifting sands, there's a question here and your thoughts on, I don't know whether to call it the plight or status of activists and activism in the region. I think there's a sense that the activists that are being detained and harassed, whether it was in Tanzania, in Uganda, somebody made a comment, which we commented with Mariam, and said it's a bit dangerous to say that some of these activists are doing this for their own personal gain. I just want to get your reactions on how we protect activism, given that it's so compromised right now, and how we can begin to, I don't know what it is, Mariam, channel more activists to come up, even in an environment where
it's not
safe, where it's dangerous. And just speaking to the recent release of the 2 from Uganda, but just your thoughts on that.
They're taking their cue from us, because it's how I think the neighbors will treat us how we are treated at home, or worse. So the cue has been given from within, that we don't respect human rights that much. So they can, they feel free to be able to do the same.
I think it's simply because of the way we have domesticated our interpretation of who we have become. I'll ask you a question. How can Musalia, who is the CS Foreign Affairs right now, and President Museveni says, we nabbed these guys and in fact we've been putting them in the coolers, and the Kenyan government says nothing. Just the way when we were killing youths, arguing that in fact these youths were literally dismantling the regime and they were anti-government. They didn't have any guns, they didn't have any bombs, they were using their phones. And we take that attitude and we decide, no, we're just going to abduct, kill some, throw some into toilets, some into dams. And that's normalized. And the government says nothing, the president says nothing. You can see the comments that Suluhu has been giving in Tanzania, the same thing. My relatives are Tanzanians, and it's unbelievable. If President Nyerere was to wake up today and talk about governance and leadership, and people have been like, oh, why is this lady behaving in such a manner? Because we didn't think she is a complete capitalist whose interests are being challenged. Every single transaction that has taken place in Tanzania, whether it's for the gas which the government had discovered before Kikwete left, and Suluhu has come up and brought Kikwete's friends are now the ones who have struck the deal on how the gas is going to be shared, whether it's the railway that is being done from the Tanzania railway that is coming up to Moshi, whether it is land which he is leasing out to the Qataris and the UAE honchos. I mean, they form up their companies, they take those companies from the Cayman Islands, then they bring those companies and investors who are coming to take over millions and millions of acres of land so that then this land can produce food, which is supposed to be exported out of the country. And then you see what they want to do is bring machines to work on those farms so Tanzanians will not even have jobs. I mean, every single thing being done is you have oligarchs that are managing the resources of our countries, that are sharing with the external factors and external individuals and outfits, and they're sharing the profits out of this, and they're asking Africans to sit around and just watch how they're eating from the high table. At some point, that is why they fear these activists, because the moment we begin to tell people that this is what is happening to your resources, people are going to go crazy. Imagine Kenya has got rare minerals on the Mrima Highland, the Mrima Hills in Taita Taveta, and the total amount of money the US government wants to pay is $76 billion for those minerals. And then what is happening? A private company is being set that is going to come from somewhere. They are going to take the ownership of these mines and they are going to make all that money for themselves, and Kenya will not receive a single penny.
Senator,
then what do you want me, if I am not an activist? Assume I am an activist. What do you want me to do when all I'm saying is telling you, stop stealing our resources? If you do not allow people to vent and tell you in leadership your mistakes, sooner or later, these people will move from frustration. From frustration, they will move into complete death. They will not see anything or feel anything. The next time you're going to have a civil war. Why? Because they have nothing to lose. So demonstrating and having civic activity and having to talk about the issues that affect our country as openly and publicly as it should be has nothing to do with wanting to get rid of the regime. It's telling the regime, can you fix your mess? Because we know it.
Okay. All right, Senator, you have made a lot of claims that we need to verify. Let me start with Shah. Hospitals being paid are the ones that are receiving
that are owned
kickbacks
by the individuals in the ministries and PSS.
Shah is run out of Nairobi West Hospital. The owner is the one that has
the
platform.
One who has got the password and the passcodes, and they're the ones who are making the payment platform.
Substantiate all those claims.
I cannot substantiate, but I can tell you this. Bring you the evidence. It's been put out here. In fact, when I was talking about Adani, the same guy who's running Nairobi Hospital is the one who was bringing the Adani deal for the sale of the airport. I mean, it's there. It's on social media. I didn't know you were going to ask me that. But if you want me, I'll forward everything to you. In fact, tomorrow.
Verified things as well. Claims on social media are claims on social media.
No,
but verified claims,
but the Senate,
verified information.
The Senate and the National Assembly have discussed this openly. At committee, we have talked about it. I was in the committee when, in fact, the CS, my classmate, I forget what I think it's the CS Rhodes now, when I was asking me, do you know the owner of Nairobi West Hospital? He says, yes. Have you ever met him? No. Do you know what he does? He said, yes. He runs all this outfit, and in fact, he has something to do with the Shah outfit. And you know what I wanted to say? I'm sorry to say that I've never come on radio and TV and said anything which is not verifiable. So what I'm saying, for now, trust me. But I'll send you everything you need.
So that we can quote it from source.
Absolutely, so that nobody sues you. But that's the reality. Yeah, that's why Shah is failing. Are some hospitals being paid? Yes. When you saw the other day, there was a report about some hospitals in Marsabit, Isiolo, kiosks, which have been paid 19 million. I mean, do I need really to tell you guys what's going on?
We'll pause on that, and definitely we've seen those, but we'll come back.
But that is the smaller bit. That is the smaller bit of the bigger picture.
Bigger picture.
Yes.
Okay. Shifting sands.
Yes.
You said something earlier. Mariam said politics in Kenya is like a chessboard. And there's been the same 20 players, the same 20 players for almost, several decades?
Yeah, since families, since independence. If you include families, it's since independence, more or less. It's a shift here, shift there, but it's more or less the same people. Yeah.
So then you wanted to find out a little bit about shifting alliances, especially based on what's happened now that Fred Matiang'i has declared officially that he's going to run for president. I think we just wanted to just get your thoughts. I think that was different from when we had you last time. And whether, we've talked about this before, the broad-based, the shifting of chess boards and chess games is really going to give rise to anything different come 2027.
Thank you.
But what has been the greatest shift on the chessboard that has most thrown you off?
Actually,
I will.
In the last maybe few months.
But let me say the last 1 month.
Yeah. Okay.
Last 1 month.
I think today that has been your most incredible question. The passing of Raila.
Right.
The passing of Raila has made, this is my thinking, all of us to go back to the drawing board. The reason for that is that before Raila passed on, you had everybody who was in the broad-based government, whether it's John Badi, whether it's my CS for energy, whether it was my friend Kaluma. For them, they had arrived, and basically they were actually taking no prisoners. They had reached a stage where for them it is their turn to eat. Then Mzee passes on. Now you see, when Mzee passed on, everybody then was into this thing of crying the loudest tears and saying how he was the greatest guy in town. He was, in fact, this enigma, this great. I mean, the same people who I saw 1 year ago. You know, Kenyans' politics shift so quickly that 2023, after the elections, are now the government of UDA had started now doing their stuff. I remember the amount of anger and hate, and how we were these Sufuria people who were just no good, who basically were unhappy with governance because why? We were not on the table. No. We said, that's not the point. You're just taking the country in the wrong direction. Then as things have moved on, of course, you see the opposition. Again, what has surprised me, Kalonzo Musyoka has stood the ground, which has impressed me quite a bit, because everybody expected him to have shifted to government a long time ago.
Right.
He hasn't. Of course, at some point, everybody was looking at, after Kalonzo, who do you have? Gachagua has continued with what he's doing, and that is basically keep on telling government what is wrong with it. Some people, many of us, may not even like his style, but does really his style matter? I think he has got a chunk of people who appreciate and love what he's doing. And for me, as a politician who's been practicing for nearly 20 years, I think the candidature of Fred Matiang'i has also come in, interestingly. Somebody who comes from a small community, somebody who may not have the billions that are stolen for him to run and win an election, deciding that actually I'm going to call the bluff.
Right.
I'm going to try and run for president. If I make it, fine. If I don't, fine. Interestingly, I think Matiang'i will be the first candidate who's taking a political party that had been, in power for 10 years, and everybody thought it was going to be moribund, and all of a sudden Jubilee is now coming up. And interestingly enough, and finally, is Uhuru Kenyatta basically saying, this young guy is my candidate, and I want him to run for president. I think he has the capacity and the ability. If he became president, he would be a good one. That's interesting politically.
It is very interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you. Last time you were here, you said it's either the ballot is either Kalonzo Matiang'i or Matiang'i Kalonzo.
Yes.
So where's Kalonzo in the mathematics right now?
let me tell both of you in this studio.
Yeah.
Honestly, I haven't seen a person in the opposition. And sometimes let's just be honest and realistic about what is it that we did, what is it that I would require somebody who I was giving a job to be an anchor or to be somebody who's running this show? The guy has been there. Kalonzo has been around for 40 years. Being around for 40 years doesn't mean you're stupid. In politics, survivability and consistency ends up actually being an aspect. Number two, don't forget that for 20 years, Kalonzo and Raila and company, and that's because there was a mistake we made when the constitution was being drafted, which said that anybody who runs for office, once you lose, you go nowhere. So he's been at home for 20 years. As a result, he's been trying to figure out how to become president. Number two, truthfully, Kalonzo has been running mate for Raila twice, and he has been Kibaki's vice president. Now, the reality is that Kibaki was, I think, one of the most successful presidents in our country. So the man who was with him during that time is now saying, I think I've reached a stage, I need to be president. For me, that is such a strong CV. But that doesn't mean that, for example, somebody like me who supports Matiang'i doesn't see that reality. But we are also saying, what is the possibility that you can have somebody like Matiang'i who's not really entrenched in this past other than working for Uhuru, doesn't come from a dynastic outfit like me. I mean, people use it and say, oh, you are some of the children and your fathers were there. The truth is, my father was a boy from a very, very poor family, which managed through God's grace to go to school, and he was successful. And I don't think that being a dynastic person gives you legitimacy, or even, and it gives you a little bit edge, because there could be resources and a good name. But I think Kenyans should not even imagine that we are going to look for this clean individual who has never been corrupt, who has no sins in his closet, and that's what we want.
To help you hit pause where you're literally mid-sentence, but we do need to take a break. It's coming up to 7:30. Senator of Kisii, Richard Onyonka, is with us in studio talking about the shifting sands in politics in Kenya. We'll come back and continue the conversation, so stay with us.
What's up, nation? I am the Kikombe, your second favorite storyteller, and I believe that if we focus on $1 billion, we will fix the nation. So how much is $1 billion? So if you stack 1,000 Kenyan shillings notes on top of each other like this, and you get to the top of Times Tower, you will only have stacked 1 billion shillings. Focus. So when you see 1 billion missing, it's not. Focus on 1 billion, because kuku hajichinji donge.
Kuku hajichinji donge. That's our fixer, the Kikombe there, reminding us the value of 1 billion shillings. So that when you hear 1 billion has been lost here, 1 billion is missing, oh, we're less 1 billion shillings, it sounds small, but not really. Not when you think about stacking 1,000 bob notes from the ground all the way up to Times Tower. That's when you'll get to 1 billion, Senator Onyonka.
It's true. And then you sit and analyze that our budget is 4-point-something trillion.
Yes.
Can you imagine?
And
It's okay.
Hold that thought.
We're coming back.
Send us your What's Up Nation video like the Kikombe has done. He did a great one. Send us yours to 0112 500 400. 0112 500 400. You could, for example, say, my name is Senator Richard Onyonka, and my bit in fixing the nation is ensuring that Kenyans and the people of Kisii are adequately represented in the Senate, but that we also have a vibrant opposition that is keeping the government of the day in check. Send it to 0112 500 400.
And just before we come back to our conversation with the Senator, some of your feedback on YouTube. Let's see. Peter Otieno, Parliamentary Committee information is indeed open to the public. Few leaders remain, the rest are feeders or eaters. Okay. The Kikombe is back. Question for the Senator. Has Parliament diluted the power of citizens to demand for financial accountability in governance? Is Parliament the ceremony that ended before the work began? We'll take note of that.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's see if we can share a bit more feedback, Senator, and see if you can answer it. What proposals or suggestions may the Senator have for constitutional amendment? Yeah, because you raised the point saying once somebody, even although they've contributed so far, once they're out, they have no further contribution. 2 more pieces of feedback. Paul Maina says, right now, what most Kenyans need is a regime that can fix health, education, economy, and human rights. Lies and plunder are the trademark of the current regime. And finally, George Kimando says, a Kalonzo Matiang'i ticket supported by the rest of the united opposition will hands down win. Matiang'i can learn the political ropes and succeed Kalonzo. My 2 cents.
Brilliant.
That's kind of where we were just before the break.
You see, for us, and for us who are supporting Fred, and really Kalonzo, and some people wonder what, when I tell them that I really like the role that Gachagua plays, and I respect him quite a bit because he's, again, also shifted that sand in Kenyan politics for the last 2 years. But the truth is, and sometimes when I hear these comments, when somebody asks these questions about parliament, boss, there's no parliament. That is a home where cartels sit, negotiate, kleptomaniac arrangements about state resources where they're being shared, whether it is for this thing they call empowerment. You only receive that money so that you can then show how loyal you are, so that you can go to your constituents and dish out the 2 million shillings to about 4,000 people and do that constantly, so that you create the optics and the perception that the government is doing anything. And yet reality is the very basics, which in 1963 that we were talking about, healthcare, education, consumption of drinking of clean water, fairness, equity, justice, meritocracy, those things that make a country become a nation state. What we are doing is we are splitting up this thing we call our country into small little bits and pieces. The ones who make loudest noise about how you people are the ones who are tribal. They're the ones who are appointing 560 people from their community and they're sharing their largesse. We are talking about why are we not able to raise very little money to deal with mother-child healthcare issues. We are busy buying new Land Cruisers for government officers, which are consuming 4.0. Diesel, oil, fuel, diesel. I mean,
we're not prioritizing what's...
Yes, we are just a nation that does not understand that we need to be a state, that we need to be an entity that has got functionality, that accommodates everybody's interest in terms of fairness and equity.
A little later, I know we'll have a question to you about your own ambitions.
Yes.
Because I'm really curious to find out how you straddle having to be part of a group of people who, in essence, you disagree with the formation, you disagree with their ideologies.
With whatever they do.
With whatever they do. But
another brilliant question.
Yes, we'll come to that a little bit later. But I want to come back to the broad-based, really trying to hold back from saying bread-based.
It's bread-based. Used to be bread-based.
Yes. I know you wanted to...
Broad-based politics, many questions. One, you've been critical of broad-based manenos, but you've also said that if President William Ruto performs, you're within the next, before 2027, you're willing to align with him.
No, I said I'm willing to listen to what he says. I may end up believing in him. But I may not join him. My job is not to join government. My job is to raise the critical questions about governance in our country. And not necessarily, you see, there is this narrative, and you really come home with this. I am not criticizing government and telling government to behave for me to join government. No, I already have a job. And I love my damn job. Can you imagine a job where you are paid to just tell somebody how they're poo-pooing on themselves? It's a beautiful job. It is up to the mother and the parents to decide, and that child, whether they're going to remove the poo-poo or they're keeping it on themselves. I mean, my job doesn't need me to be given anything else.
There's no other metaphor you could have come up with.
No, I don't have anything. I tell people, I don't want to join William Ruto's government. I would want to join, even if I found my mom was the president, I would be telling her, Mama, you are like Sulubu. You are running around like Suluhu. See what you are doing. Why are you killing people? That's what I would do.
Okay.
I mean, some of us, there are people who can be doctors, and some of them who can be Juakali guys. We all can't be doctors. You see, all of us can't be president. So people think that we are criticizing Ruto because we want money. I've told somebody, if I haven't made money for being in politics for 30 years, then I ain't gonna make it. I should have made it. So my deeply held view is that I didn't get this job to make money. Otherwise, I would have made the money my first 5 years, started a factory, and I've been making toys and toothpicks in Nairobi, and I'll be a multimillionaire. I don't have that capacity. My capacity to take the little education I have and analyze the issues the way we have them in my country. And the position I've taken is very simple. Some of us are going to be brave enough to say it the way it is. And it's not we are doing it because we are disparaging the president. No, he was given the mandate by the people.
Right.
But the fact that you've been given a mandate doesn't mean that you treat us shoddily. You see, I don't want William to tell me that, oh, you know, I've done these wonderful things. That, no, I have eyes to see and have ears to hear.
Okay. We need to get back to that opposition politics in just a minute. But you've recently spoken about the games being played with presidential term limits and what's being pushed. What do you see there that the rest of us may not be seeing when people start suggesting 7 years?
I'm going to take what they call a long curve, throw a long curveball if you understand baseball. What is making African leaders become intransigent and become what they're becoming now is because, sadly, the way the American president is behaving. You see, previously, the Americans were the checkmates. The U.S. is the one that would tell us, you know, behave yourselves. Make sure you take care of human rights. All right.
Yeah.
The issue of race, which is the tribalism we have in Kenya. All these things were coming up. Now, what has happened is you have our presidents within our region deciding that they're the ones who are going to tell us what to do because they know everything. And the reality we have got is that Kenyans are saying, and I'll talk about Kenya today, is that Kenyans are saying, we know what is good for us. We want that is good for us to take place. But if you look at the governance structure that we have, where we have checks and balances, we have the executive, you have the legislature, and you have the judiciary. For the last 30 years, even after we thought we had actually succeeded, even with the new constitution, checks and balances are weak. And Kenyans forget very quickly. Do you remember when members of parliament, after President William Ruto told them how they are all thieves and crooks, and they go to State House to collect money, which is never shared amongst themselves?
During the devolution conference.
Why was he telling them that? It's because our country has become basically a den where people share state largesse, where everybody who wants to have an engagement. I even see my senator friends. You see somebody arguing and saying how the government is a beautiful outfit, and in fact it's you people who are not seeing what the government has done. And this is a lawyer who's been fighting over human rights for years. So you ask, what happened to you? Then you are told, no, now one of his hospitals is the one which is being paid by SHA. Oh, you know what? Last financial year, the guy was given 800 million to do Maram roads in his constituency. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Yes. And then you are told, no. In fact, it wasn't a Maram road. They added another 1.3 billion. It's now supposed to be tarmacked. And half the money has already been paid. And the control of budget has said, I wouldn't pay that, but they are paid. And the Auditor General has said, they sold 56 billion last year. They have stolen 196 billion. There's money that has come from donors. No one at the World Bank. All these things, when you pull them together, it's not that the president is not doing anything. It's the other for everything he's doing. His friends are stealing money from the coffers.
Walk me from there to term limits.
Yes. So as a result, thank you. As a result, you see when you begin to see this largesse, you see this exclusivity, then the oligarchs form. Then you have a group of individuals who are going to be managing roads. There's another group which specifically deals with water. You know, water, you cannot get the evidence. Because you can say the pipes were laid and nobody will check. So they will pick another 16 billion. Then you have education. They are not taking capitation money. Fake schools are being paid. Why? Because when you begin to enjoy state resources, you want the term limit to be extended. You want the president to live longer so that you can share more state resources, so that you can enjoy these largesse, so that the bad behavior becomes more formalized.
Yet you want to entrench in the constitution something that would reward political failures.
Absolutely.
Did I get that right?
Absolutely. I mean,
walk me through the checks and balances.
If you are not able to do anything,
we crave checks and balances.
Yes.
But you want to reward the failures so that they're not there to do the checks and balances.
But that's what our leadership is. That's what the Kenyan system is right now. I mean, what is it that we are talking at the National Assembly or even in the Senate? When do you see anybody raise up a very serious question about, is this actually happening? And then you see what happens when the government ministers are even coming to the plenary to come and tell us, give us answers about what is there. The previous night, you would find that people would have looked for him and they would have told him what those questions are going to be. And most probably money will exchange hands at night so that guys are given. And the questions which are given, they are sanitized.
Let me ask you, and I know you're still trying to figure out the checks and balances question. I want to come back to now this united opposition, because the way I see it is this would be a group that would take us back on track as a country, allegedly, supposedly. But there already seem to be cracks. There seems to be a lot of tension between, for example, Rigathi Gachagua, Fred Matiang'i. We've heard the former DP say things like, I'm a person who doesn't spend time in the boardrooms like other people do. And I think he was throwing shade, so to speak, that I'm on the ground. Today we've seen him saying, Mimi tu ndio kusema mlimani. And I'm just trying to draw that to what you're saying, because shouldn't united opposition be the fix 2027? But there seem to be cracks and disagreements.
Shouldn't the united opposition be united?
Be united.
Thank you. Can I answer that? Did we really know Gachagua before he became MP? Who knew Matiang'i other than the fact that he was in the Ministry of Education and then he went to Interior and whatever? Who has ever really sat down to look and analyze all these people? Why are Kenyans thinking that you're going to take 4 or 5 men with one incredible lady and sit down with them and expect they're going to come up and say, yes, we love each other, and you know the way this thing is, there are no issues. With time...
So you're admitting there's cracks?
It has to be. If there are no cracks, then it ain't worth it. Which relationship have you ever seen that is neat, that has no issues?
Okay.
That guys don't even fight about water?
We're 20 months to the election.
Yes, but the reality is the opposition understands and they know for sure. They know that if they break up, Kenyans will never forgive them.
If they break up.
We know. I can tell you today, I have nowhere to go.
Okay. There's no public, not that there's no public confidence in the opposition.
Yes.
And you're saying they could break up. So how then do we buy back that public trust when right now it seems like there's cracks that they don't seem to be agreeing? And I know strategically people will say, it's 20 months. We know things are working. Right now, the optics are that there's just no agreeing amongst them. That's actually power plays. That doesn't sit well. It's almost the same as what we're seeing in government.
Yeah.
I can put it this way. I have been there when I went to Mombasa 20 years ago. And that time, Kalonzo was being chased by Raila's people, being told with Nyundo. You know, Kenyans have short memories. Being told, you watermelon, get out of here. What happened? It was exactly 4 years later when Kalonzo was being looked for and being told, bro, can you please come and let's see whether you can be Raila's running mate. I mean, politicians are always going to have this sibling rivalry, this enchanted discontentment, because we have got so many people advising and misadvising us. What I can tell you today is this: whatever you see, that is got a purpose. In fact, I was not supposed to reveal that. William is not an ordinary politician that you play with the rules and you think it is okay, you are going to score him a goal. Our position is very simple. We are going to play cantankerously, sometimes fake it, sometimes agree to be together, sometimes you're going to see me saying something.
Sometimes some of it is performative.
Absolutely. It's part of strategy.
I need 2 quick fire answers from you.
Yes
or no?
Yes.
Number 1, Rigathi Gachagua and Fred Matiang'i at loggerheads. Are they disagreeing?
Absolutely not.
They're not.
They're not. It's just that, you see, I don't know why people don't understand this. Gachagua is trying to create space so that he can become relevant. Why would you want him to then say, oh, come to Centro? Of course, Centro is not his per se. He doesn't own it. But in politics, just like in football, that rivalry is there.
Is he infringing on the Central
vote? Is he entering Rima politics?
Is he entering Rima politics?
We were there yesterday, and then today we are going to Moranga, and then after that last night he was in Olkalau. we are moving around.
The fact that Gachagua can say, I'm the one who speaks for the mountains, it almost sounds like he's saying nobody else should dare encroach on me, including Matiang'i. So is he also saying that, listen, this is my territory, you don't get to come and have a part of it?
Our attitude is the public will decide at the end of it. I really like Gachagua. I have no problem with them.
So Matiang'i and Gachagua are not at loggerheads?
No, we are not. Everybody's looking for their space.
It's a dance.
It's a dance.
Okay.
At some point, we are going to agree whether it's going to be...
I think you need to fix the optics of it, though. The dance, I get it. Behind the scenes, but Mariam.
We're at the end of the song. The song is about to end.
That's true.
We're in the line, like, we don't even have chorus. We don't have anything. We're at the end of the song. 20 months is not a long time to finish this dance. In a neat way. It might just find people in the middle of the dance.
Give it until mid next year.
Okay.
Give it until we are still to dance.
Mariam, what were you hoping to hear? December?
I was hoping something of the sort, because we really don't have that much time.
We don't know. Excuse me, hold on. The point we have, number one, everybody in Kenya who looks at opposition wants us to go to the ground and start making noise. We are saying no. Sometimes we need to cool down because nobody, unless you've stolen tons of money, you're not going to be able to run a presidential campaign from now until next year.
So you're saying we trust the process. It's a hard one.
Thank you.
It's a hard one.
Absolutely.
It's because people's lives are at stake. I know Mariam wants to come back and ask about your ambitions.
Yes.
I quickly want to take feedback.
Yes.
Dan Atom is saying disorganized opposition. So anyway, he's sharing those sentiments. The fact, Senator, is that Ruto will not, cannot, and should not change. We've seen too much evil in him to allow space. Forgiveness and forgetfulness are not options in this case. The three other bits of feedback. There is no way that 1 hour is enough with the senator.
Son of Zachary, can he stay another hour? Son of Zachary.
Unfortunately,
my dad.
Asking, sorry. Oh,
my dad is called Zachary. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a fixer. Kikombe. Yani umefanya research hapo. Charles Ndungu is saying, I wouldn't trust an opposition that agrees on everything that one or the other says all the time. That's how we got where we are today.
Thank you.
So appreciating the process and the
let me put it this way. You remember when, I think it was during the eulogy of Raila. I mean, people don't realize the amount of anger, the amount of hate, the amount of pain people go through on disagreements about, for example, when we had the issues of 2007 and 8, people were in Kina Kalonzo was, not Kalonzo, Kalonzo was already with President Kibaki. We were sitting in buildings where we are discussing what to do next, and you hear bullets being shot outside, and people are being killed, and people are saying, let us get arms and make sure we go and kill this community because of the problem of our history and our lives. And I saw Raila say, if any of you are men enough, go and do it. I ain't gonna kill any more Kenyans. If you don't understand that this thing is not as simple as it looks, then you are just playing normal the Fanta and those stupid things kids do.
But no, haya. Quick one.
Yeah.
Someone has asked what party you're going to use to vie for the Kisii gubernatorial seat, which brings us now to your political ambitions.
The party I'm gonna use, I shouldn't say this because I've got so much respect and candor with my party ODM, but politics in Kenya is shifting. If I find that I will win my seat with the Jubilee Party, that's what I'll do. If Jubilee makes a coalition agreement with WIPE and whoever, my honest observation is that because I've taken my space and time to support Fred Matiang'i, and it's a risk in personal determination and what you do with, my honest feeling is that if Fred Matiang'i asked me to join Jubilee, I would seriously consider that and join him. If he doesn't, then I'm comfortable remaining in my ODM. If ODM, for example, decides to form a coalition with Jubilee and the other parties of the opposition, I'm comfortable. Either way, I am always comfortable.
So then, you don't choose parties based on ideology?
I've never won an election with more than one party. With less than the first time I was in a party called PDP, second time I went to ODM, third time I was in Fort Kenya, fourth time ODM asked me to come back, fifth time I was in which one? I've always been in this because
so it's a problem of our politics because clearly you're using whichever vehicle will get you.
The reason I was doing that is because I would never be an MP or a senator today. Every single move I made, every time I was moving away is because I saw I was going to be rigged out. So I moved ahead of the opposition. Then when I went to the other party, I did my term. When I got there, I again moved out because there are always strategies. When you are running for election, from nomination to getting the ticket is not a joke. Okay. So that's why I was always hopscotching because I had to survive.
Okay, we have to take a short break, but I'm going to ask you if you don't mind staying on just a little bit longer to talk about what's happening in the Senate.
Yes.
Also, we didn't thread properly on Senator Cherargei's comments and what's happening within ODM. There's still a few of those like loose ends, but just as we go into the break, when you think of Kisii politics right now, what's a big win? What's a big loss?
Thank you. Kisii politics has become incredibly... which words can I use? Right now, the story is Fred Matiang'i. And it's not about tribalism or anything. I think there is, and I hope you'll sympathize with me when I make this argument. There is what we call community nationalism and there's tribalism. The members of the Kisii community understand that Matiang'i is not really a candidate because he's Kisii. But because we come from a small community, we don't have the numbers like we are always being told. We have no numbers. We feel proud that we are taking the risk. We feel proud that we are telling Kenyans, if you think I'm good enough, don't judge me by, do you remember the statement of Martin Luther King? Don't judge me by the character of my skin, the color of my skin, but the content of my character. We are saying we want a Kenya, and that is why many of us were a bit uncomfortable when the story of Jubilee came in. But what we are saying, you even hear my story about have left one party to the other. Why? Parties don't have ideology.
Which is what you say is a problem.
We are saying, for the first time, we want, and this is what we are telling Dr. Fred Matiang'i, we want you to sit down and look at what the failures of Jubilee were and what the successes were. Can we pick the successes and make sure that you have a party that will stand for good governance, that will stand for inclusivity, that will stand for fairness, that will talk about corruption openly, and what you're going to do to stop it.
We'll bring you back. Like Kikombe said, an hour clearly isn't enough. Mariam is right. There were certain things that, we hoped that we could continue speaking to you about. But that has been Senator Richard Onyonka from Kisii, talking about shifting Sun's state of politics and many, many other things. And hopefully we'll have him back. But next, we also pick up a conversation that has made news through the weekend. And we'll be speaking to Daniel Manzo, obviously, who is the lawyer, Makueni senator, but also lawyer for Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyo. The abductor next door and the cost of freedom. We'll have a conversation about that. It's coming up to 8 a.m. Fixing the Nation, one conversation at a time.